morning, everybody. My name is Shawn Owen. I think my superpower to get onto that is I've spent most of my life working with people and putting resources to work, whether it be human capital or capital investment. That's what I'm really good at, working with people, whether it's serving people or employing people, leadership, whatever you want to call that. And today, what I really want to talk to you about is not necessarily my business, but one of the aspects that we're spinning up. And before I get into that, I want to give you just a background of why. So when I first got into Bitcoin, it was early, didn't really immediately notice the value in 2010, but pretty quickly after in 2011, became very obsessed with it. And one of the things I thought was really incredible was this idea of imagining if all of us had a currency, some form of value that we could transact in that wasn't controlled by any authority. It was for us, it was people, and we all used it in a way that was created from something outside of debt, but was created in a different way. And I was just really in love with that idea, and I'm still in love with that idea. And over the years, I've given away a ton of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Salt tokens, whatever kind of stuff I've had, because I really believe the best way to get somebody to understand it is not to sit there and talk to them about it, but just give it to them and say, send it to me, so I'll send it back. Now go spend it, whatever you want to do with it, trade it. Seems to be very effective for people to say, oh, I get it. And I don't regret actually giving a lot of that away, even though I kind of wish I had it back. So what I'm really excited about and I want to talk to you about today is we've spun up a organization that's a part of SALT that is called the SALT Bridge Foundation. And the key word there being bridge. So why would we, or how can we, give Bitcoin or something like Bitcoin to everybody on the planet? How do we do that? There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I was always very excited when I would see ChangeTip or some of the early projects in the space, come up with this idea or say, we want to do some kind of campaign where we give away a whole bunch of Bitcoin. It just never really happened, and I was always a little let down by that. So I decided we should do that. And I still think there's an opportunity to do that. And so what we're doing with the foundation is a lot of different areas that have to do with inclusion, financial inclusion, education, and anything of the like that we can partner with when it comes to what we do, which is lending, which I want to get into just a little bit, not to pitch the business, but to explain how SALT plays a role here. And what we want to do is we want to teach everybody the value and the incentive around leveraging something of value rather than borrowing against credit. So what you effectively do when you borrow money is you've engaged in an agreement with somebody else, and there's now an incentive for you to pay that back. Now, if you have something of value that you don't want to lose, say you love your Bitcoin and you put it up and you're going to get some cash to spend, then you're probably going to follow that incentive to say, I want to pay this back. But the foundation, what we want to do is, and I'm going to need everybody's help when we're ready for this, is we want to create a way for everybody to donate some form of their tokens, some form of their cryptocurrency into this fund that will go directly into opening up wallets for anybody who's never been exposed and or is financially excluded in places like Puerto Rico where it's going to be obvious. But it's not just Puerto Rico. I've got family that lives in a part of the country here in America where there's still just a lot of kind of poverty in a way, where you'd think we've got all this wealth, but it's still difficult for people to gain access to something of value that then they can put to work, which is what it's all about. So what we want to do is we want to say, we're not going to just give you Bitcoin. We're going to give you Bitcoin and teach you why you should take a loan and pay that back. Because when you have one thing of value and you borrow against it to get another thing of value, you have to pay it back. And in that process, you have to do something of value. You can't just squander it. You've got to actually make an investment in something, hopefully yourself, or hopefully something that you need the cash for, whether it be school. We're partnering with multiple different universities already. There's a great article that came out in Bitcoin Magazine if you want to find more about it. But in that relationship now you have, when you pay that back, then you gain access and you can borrow again. So it's a way to create more wealth and more abundance, in my opinion. I also think it's a way for us all to take what we're building, which is beautiful, and get it into the hands of many, 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 many more people. So I'm really going to keep it fairly short today. For anybody who doesn't know, SALT, the business, is predicated off of if you have an asset, you can borrow against it. Specifically, there's no market right now other than what we're creating to borrow against your Bitcoin or your tokens or your assets. So you can think about this very simply like a line of credit on a home. If you own a home, you can borrow against that home because somebody will say, if you don't make good on the promise, we have something of value. We're doing that with cryptocurrency, and we think that's extremely beneficial and needed because what we're really doing is creating liquidity. We're creating access to something that is latent. Right now, if you have that asset, you probably should keep holding onto it and be a hodler, but you may come across a point where you have to sell it, and then you're going to say, you know, oh, I did so good for so long, but then I had to liquidate out of this and I had to sell it. We're creating an option for you to gain liquidity on that and keep the position, hopefully, indefinitely forever, or as long as you possibly can. And a part of that is how do we engage together? So in what we're looking for, always looking for people who are interested in taking out a loan. So for example, if you're an ICO, you're probably going to get a whole lot of capital in your hands. You don't have to go sell it. You can use it. And we can take a portion of that, we can donate it, and you'll still benefit dramatically while doing something good for the world that's benefiting all of us. We're also looking for investors, people who have capital, who want to lend in this ecosystem, who want to help create liquidity. And most importantly, we're looking for employees. We have 73 full-time employees in Denver, Colorado. We have 13 employees in the Philippines, 3 employees in Mauritius, 1 employee in Ireland, 1 employee in Bermuda, soon to be employees here. So we're looking to expand as fast as possible with anybody that can contribute. Whether you're a developer, whether you care about nonprofits, whether you just want to help us expand, whether you're an investor, you name it, we're interested. So that's really all I got. I know we're running out of short of time, but I wanted to give another shout out to Brock. I thought that was an excellent display of sharing knowledge, and I really appreciated that. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody here. Thank you.